Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's your boy two-time Moto TV, and we back with another video. Today we're gonna be changing a thermostat in a 1999 Buick LeSabre 3800 series 2 engine. We already have the thermostat here. We have the thermostat housing. I'm gonna go ahead and replace that because I'm having some sort of leak here, so I just want to go ahead and replace everything. Instead of just replacing the thermostat, I want to replace the housing also. I don't know exactly where the leak is coming from, but I'm constantly having to put coolant in here. I did have my reservoir filled up, but now all of that is gone, so I definitely know I got a leak. Hopefully it's not coming around my intake manifold, which I haven't really seen anything leaking around that. The only leaks that I've seen is from here and then dripping on down there on the side, and then a little bit in there, if you guys can see that. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. The tools that we have today is a 5mm Allen key, and that's for the bleeder screw at the top here. And we also have a 10mm ratchet, which is right here. And that is for these two screws that are very accessible on these engines, which I definitely love that. I have a screw here and then a screw on the other side. The only thing I may have to take off is this vacuum line here, which is fairly easy. Hopefully it's not so old that it just snaps off, but she came off rather smooth, so that's good news. And I know that you guys are asking probably like, why do I have this yellow string here? So I'm not doing any kind of air pressure or anything, you know, to put all of the coolant back in the radiator. So what I'm gonna do is, as soon as I take those bolts out, I'm gonna bend it back, and then I'm gonna use this string here and tie this string here around that, so that the coolant doesn't just keep coming up out of this hose here. I'm really not too worried about the coolant that's already in there. Let that drip out, drain out, whatever it want to do, and then I'll clean it up later. But yeah, just to go ahead and get right to it, this is a fairly easy video for anybody. 10mm, 5mm for the bleeder screw. Your bleeder screw might be different. This OEM one has a bleeder screw for a 10mm, so I'll let you guys know when you need to hit the bleeder or whatever. And that's just to get all the air out of the system. You really don't want to have air in your system when you're running coolant in it. So yeah, guys, let me strap up my GoPro and I'll show y'all what we're working with. All right, we got the GoPro strapped up. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hit this bleeder screw a little bit, loosen it up, so any little air in here will be coming out, so lefty loosey. Just turn it just a few notches. Then next we're gonna hit these two screws here, lefty loosey. It may be a little tight, but mine's actually pretty loose. This old motor may be a little bit greased up for your boy to go ahead and assess. Let me not speak too soon. Okay, that one broke loose too. And I know you guys gonna probably see a lot of coolant drain, but like I said, I'm not worried about that. I'll clean it up shortly. I'm always worried about getting the car fixed and getting it done right, guys. The cleanup process is mind of business. So hopefully you guys can see everything that I'm doing here. All right, so it wasn't much and it wasn't bad, so just tie this around here a couple times. And all right, guys, so what you're seeing right here is a blown gasket. That's why I'm having these leaks. I don't know if you guys can see that. So that gasket there is messed up. It is not supposed to look like that. That's exactly why I'm having these leaks. This one comes with a new gasket. The gasket does not come on it like that, so the only thing you have to do is just slip that gasket over top of this piece here. And that's how it's supposed to look, circular, and it's not supposed to be all deformed like that. So yeah, we have a blown gasket. That's why we're having leaks. So instead of you guys always thinking it's the intake manifold or letting shops tell you, hey, look, I'm about to charge you X amount of dollars to take the intake manifold off, to take the alternator off, and all these other pieces and stuff, you guys might want to do your research yourself and actually pinpoint exactly where your leaks are coming from. Sometimes it's coming from the thermostat housing. That's usually one of the weakest points, or the gasket. And there we are. Just take a screwdriver, pry it up. She's draining all my little coolant. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick this one back in here. All right, guys, and I do want to show you something else. So mine's came with this little needle here. This one doesn't seem to have it. Nah, I don't see a needle on this. But you want to put that needle at the highest point. So I'll put it up at the top up there. That's the highest point. Whenever you're reinstalling it or whatever, you want to make sure that that's always at the highest point. But yeah, guys, look at this gasket here. It's all folded in and corroded, and yep, that's bad news right there. That's why I'm having trouble in the leaks. And after a while, I was having like a little stuttering with the car. So the only thing I'm gonna do here is clean this little surface off in the back, and then I'm gonna get a paper towel and wipe the rest of it off. So guys, and since the thermostat housing is not messed up or anything, I'm just gonna reinstall that. Since everything is working properly with the thermostat housing itself, it was actually just the thermostat. So I'm just gonna reinstall it how it was. It doesn't have a gasket or anything. It doesn't need a gasket. The only thing you gotta do is put your bolts back how you're supposed to. And that gasket around the thermostat seals everything else up. So you just gotta make sure that you got this down there tight, good enough. And then that will seal it. As soon as you put this here back on top of it, it'll seal up everything that you need. So I'm not gonna tighten it down with the ratchet. I'm just gonna snug it. I know I say hand tighten, but I really can't tighten it but so much with these gloves, and then I got coolant and oil on it, so I'm able to put a turn on it. All right, that one's snug. That one's snug. So I'm gonna leave it snug for a moment. I'm just gonna clean up around the area so that I can know if I do have another leak in the near future. If the area is clean, then if I see some more coolant back there again, I know that it's still leaking. So all right, guys, make sure that you put your hoses back together before you start the car, or else it will not stay running. Top the radiator off. This fluid will account for any kind of air that we have in the system, so it'll minimize the air that we do have. The next time I change my my coolant, I'm gonna run the Dexacool. I'm getting away from this green coolant because it tends to mess up a lot of gaskets and all my vehicles. Whatever kind of detergent and stuff that they have in this green coolant is really not good for it. That's why it's so cheap. So I'm gonna run Dexacool, is really what it calls for. I'm gonna start running that from now on. Also, I'm gonna put a little bit in here. I don't even want to put it up to the cold mark just yet. All right, so I'm gonna start the car. See, as it runs, I just want to continuously top off the radiator. Once I close up the whole system, I'm gonna try to bleed a screw. I believe that should be enough for the radiator. Everything seems to be flowing pretty good because now this is going to the reservoir. Alright guys, so that's that. I got the bleeder screw back down. Radiator's topped off. Got coolant in the reservoir, almost up to the cold level. You don't want to fill it all the way up to the top. This was the problem the whole time, the gasket. Looked like it melted over or something maybe. Just collapsed, failed on me. Thermostat's probably still some good. It was still working in the car, but like I said, I was having a leak and keep filling it up with coolant. So I'm gonna keep that thermostat just in case anything happens with this one. But so far I see 0 leaks. Hose is getting nice and warm. In conclusion, always check your thermostat housing, your thermostat gasket, and your thermostat if you are having any overheating issues, if you're having any coolant leaks. Look at that first. That's mainly the weak part of any kind of coolant system. 1, you got your radiator. 2, you got your thermostat housing. 3, you got your intake manifold. So you might want to check those 3 things if you're having any kind of coolant leaks with the gasket, with the thermostat itself, or the gasket that goes around the thermostat. Check all 3 of those before you send yourself to a mechanic. They're gonna try to tell you every time it's your intake manifold. They gotta tear the whole top of the part, or tear the whole top of the engine off and try to fix it. But that's 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. You can actually do these things yourself at your house. Make sure that you bleed off your coolant system like how I did. I did put the screw back down. Hose is getting nice and warm. Let's go back in. Coolant level rising a taste. As long as she don't shoot over 200, I'm fine. I got a 180, so it's supposed to read at 180, start cooling the system down. So yeah guys, that'll end this video, man. I know I look crazy with my GoPro on my head, but you know what I'm saying, I gotta do those kind of things to be able to bring y'all accurate video and hands-on to everything I'm doing. I don't want to keep moving the camera around and everything like that. So 2-time Moto TV out. Next thing coming with the Vic. I'll let y'all know that very soon. Peace.